Okay, so the big idea with trig is
Can I have this?
okay, so the big idea is knowing the strategies. So what do we all have? So if we have a right triangle, what kinds of things can we use? We could do SOHCAHTOA stuff, or Pythagorean theorem. That's one idea. What's the next thing we look for? Pairs. We look for a pair, so then if we have that pair, what are we doing? Sine law. If we don't have those, what's the next thing we're looking for? SAS or triple S, right? That's everything you ever need to know. Okay, those are the things we use, the strategies we use. So you're asking yourself every time, what do I see? Do I see this, this, or this? Okay, so number one, what do we see? Pair. So as soon as I have a pair, I would use sine law. Okay, and I need to find side C. I need to find side C. So its partner is here. So that's not good. Can't use that. So what else should we do?
72 over sine y.
72. And then we're going to find that one. Once we have that one, we're going to find that angle. And then, so this is the one where you do double sine law, right? Remember that question? Okay, so 72 over sine angle B. So get an angle up top there. Uh-oh, guess what I didn't check before I started typing? My calculator is degree mode. .4 degree. Okay, so the next step was to find angle C at the bottom right there. So you can do that with the 180 rule. And then you need to repeat sine law. Okay, you're going to notice that I was rounding decimals to 1 and I did sides to 2. Does your answer make sense to you? You always should ask that, right? Okay, number 2. Identifying the strategy. Looks like I have SAS. So I'm going to use cosine law. And this is what I'm after. I'm after a side. So we're going to go c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cos c. Okay, I give you all these formulas, right? Don't memorize them. They will be provided on a formula sheet. Type, square root, right? Remember that one? Just square root your answer. Okay, don't forget, does your answer make sense? Because if you, like, for instance, forgot to square root and got 52, that should be a red flag. That looks weird on that triangle. Okay, we have a triple S for the next one. And we're after angle Q. So what I do is I always identify the side across. It's kind of my first instinct as well. So we're going to go cos of Q equals fraction line. And then I always do the minus 6.3 squared at the end. Across from Q minus that. Okay, and then fill in the rest. Okay, how is our typing going? I was giving you some hints here. You needed to do brackets, top stuff, divided by brackets, bottom stuff, angle, cos inverse. Okay, something to pay attention to on your test is making sure you know if you're using the sine button or the cos button, because sometimes I get students who do this work, but then they accidentally push sine inverse instead of cos inverse, and that's wrong, right? So make sure you pay attention, cos or sine. Okay, how many triangles? So if this is angle A, then here's our opposite. So you're trying to decide if opposite is, so what is it? If it's longer, one triangle. So if the opposite is longer, there's only one triangle. If the opposite is shorter, we have to do a test. Okay, so here I go. 5 over sine 28 equals 13 over sine B. Okay, sine inverse it to get an angle, and I got no angle forming. Error. So 0 triangles. Okay, so I did the sine law test, I did the sine inverse, and a angle appeared, so that's going to tell me 2 triangles. Okay, so on the test, you need to explain to me how do you know. So you can't just say there's no triangles. Explain. Well, the opposite side was shorter and it failed the test. Now I know that there's 0. Opposite side was shorter, it passed the test, so 2. Opposite side was longer, 1. Okay, solving for the ambiguous triangle for the above question. So this one here had the 2 triangles, so 12, 14, and 31. Okay, so here's 14. So what would 12 look like? So 12 would be a little bit shorter. So if I put 12 somewhere, it could go here, or it could go here. So it could have swung to hit there, or here. Okay, so the purpose of the ambiguous triangle is to figure out the last side. So I've highlighted my triangles that say 14, 12, and what? 14, 12, and what? That's what I'm looking for. 14, 12, and what? I'm not looking at, there's another triangle over here. I don't want that one because it's 12, 12, and what? So that's not my triangle. My triangle has to have a 14 and a 12 in it. Okay, some of you might still have this on your calculator because you just did this one, right? Okay, so remember the deal is there's 2 triangles, so these answers now are going to have 2 options. So the first thing you do is it could be this or that. Okay, so here's the deal. It has to go across 14. So thinking about my colors here, there's a pink angle across and there's a yellow angle across. 14 across from 14. So know where the small one goes and know where the big one goes. Okay, there's always one that's going to be bigger than 90 and one smaller than 90, always. So make sure your drawing is showing that. So I can see in my drawing bigger and smaller. Okay, I need you to now get the last top one in the pink and the last angle in my yellow. Okay, please again, don't mistake it for this 12-12 triangle. I don't want that angle. I want this whole angle. Okay, are we good with our numbers? 5.9 and 112.1. Okay, so we're going to go the same originals. 12 over sine 31 equals C1 over sine 5.9 Okay, so I'm doing the exact same thing and then putting C over the option of the 5.9 or the 112.1. So those were our two options for top angles. Okay, how are we looking with our numbers? One's small and one's big. Okay, next question is a word problem, so we're going to need a drawing. Sorry, I also am going to expect 1 point for your drawing on the test. You're going to have to draw this one as well, okay? So all word problems as well, that's drawing. So we are looking up at a building from the ground, and that angle was 35 degrees. From a point that is now 150 feet closer to the building, so I walk closer, now the angle to the top is 51. So we're going to be finding the height of the building, and we're going to put a 90-degree corner on the building as well. Okay, so the big idea on this one is to start with angles, all the angles that you could figure out. So you should be able to first find the one right beside 51. Okay, those are supplementary. They're on a line, and a line always contains 180 degrees on it. Okay, so I found beside 51. Then once I had that, I did a 180 triangle and I found the top. Now I can see a pair. Okay, I'm also going to do 35 degrees with this side. Okay, again, I cannot do 35 and X because I can't do a pair from this triangle and a pair from that triangle. They're different triangles. So stick with the same triangle. There's 3 triangles in this drawing, so you have to be careful. So if I cover that up, right, this is all I'm working with, just this triangle. So go ahead, 150 over sine 16 equals y over sine 35. Okay, so once you have that, basically now you're forgetting about that triangle. Now you're dealing with this right triangle. So if you want, you can do SOHCAHTOA stuff, or you can just do a sine law pair as well. Okay, so either or will work. SOHCAHTOA would work on that as well. Only because you have a right. So on the test, I'm also going to expect that you put feet on the end of your answer for word problems. So make sure that you attach a unit if it's possible. All right. So that question, please just don't accidentally use pairs that aren't in the same triangle. Okay, 2 airplanes are leaving the airport at the same time. And they're traveling in different flight paths, so don't exactly know. Different flight paths. An hour later, they are 189 kilometers apart from each other. The drawing of my airplane or my fish. It looks more like a shark. I don't know how to draw airplanes. Okay, they're 189 kilometers apart. One plane traveled 168 kilometers, and the other one traveled 244 kilometers. Find the angle that's between their flight paths. Okay, I also will note that sometimes I didn't give you distances. I might have given you speeds. So never use speeds. You always have to use distances. So if I do give a speed, you have to figure out the distance they've gone. Okay, so we're going to do cosine law, triple S. Identify the side that's across. That is the one you're going to minus. Okay, and again, I'm showing you kind of my ideas on my calculator, brackets, cos inverse. All right, that's good. All right, last question. A triangular lot, so like where you would build a house, sits on the intersection of two streets. So two streets intersect, and then there's a triangle lot. Okay, so they intersect at 58 degrees. One side of the lot on the street is 32 meters and the other one is 40 meters. How long is the back side of this lot? So we're looking at a SAS. Okay, so there's your formula, cos, and then don't forget to square root this one. And there's some units that you should put on your answer, right? I should see meters at the end of your answer, because it's a word problem and that was given. Okay, a couple of things for your test. Here's one piece of advice. I get students who often use Pythagorean theorem just on, like this triangle, they might have just done Pythagorean theorem. You can't. Why can't you?
It's not right.
It's not a right. So don't use that stuff. Okay, only on right triangles you can ever use that stuff. What else do I often see? I often see those mistakes of cos inversing versus sine inversing, using that wrong button. Okay, make sure you know which formula you are using. Putting units at the end, making sure you're rounding properly. Do you know, what if I had said, for this question, find the largest angle? What if I had said that instead? Then it'd be R, yeah, okay. The largest angle is across from the largest side. So also this would be the smallest angle, right? Okay, so know that. I'm not going to say find angle Q, I might have said find the smallest angle. So then you got to identify that as well.